We're going into week 6, but I believe it's time to extend Ahkello Witherspoon, and it's been that time, but now it's more vital than ever. Before we get into it, be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already for this type of content. I do it all the time. Be sure to hit the like button and drop a comment based on how you feel. The Rams are going to have around $60 to $70 million in cap space. Obviously, they can do restructures and stuff and make that thing even more. And while they have a bunch of guys to bring back, they don't have as many in the past. There's not going to have to be a ton of signings. However, there's one guy in particular that I am focused on, and that is Ahkello Witherspoon, who is going to be a free agent. He's 28 years old. And this is somebody, in my opinion, that right now is playing a better game of football at the cornerback position than virtually everyone in the league right now. If you look at his statistics, if you look at his all of his numbers, it's really impressive, but the film speaks for itself in general. If you haven't been watching the film, here are the statistics here. Per PFF, he's first in reception percentage allowed. So that means when receivers are working on him in any sort of way, they're only catching the ball 40.9% of the time, which is first in the league of all cornerbacks. That's a great job. The next thing is he's first in coverage snaps per reception. So he's averaging 19.2 snaps in coverage before he gives up a reception. That's incredible, and it's first in the league. In addition to that, he's second in opposing quarterback passer rating with 36.7. I had mentioned in the Bengals game, I know Joe Burrow wasn't fully healthy, but even he came out and said, really, the calf doesn't stop me from throwing the ball. It just stops me from being mobile. Well, Joe Burrow had a 3 passer rating when targeting Ahkello Witherspoon. He has been unbelievable, and he is second in the league in that category with 36.7. Quarterbacks virtually just aren't doing anything when they target number 44. And in addition to that, he's second in the league, tied for second in the league in interceptions with 2. He also has a fumble recovery. So he's had 3 turnovers in back-to-back games. He's had at least a turnover in all those games. So he's been huge for the Rams. He's been a model of consistency. He has been a workhorse. He has been a leader in the back end of the secondary when they've needed it the most. Anytime you move on from a player like Jalen Ramsey, you need somebody to step up. Ernest Jones has absolutely done that. Aaron Donald, of course, is a leader. But now you talk about having a guy, number 44, Ahkello Witherspoon, who they signed in late June, come right in. He dealt with an injury right away with his finger, and then he comes right in right away, sets the tone early. He's going to start. Jacoby Durant looked amazing at the end of last season. Darian Kendrick, there were high hopes for, and I think they're definitely, you've seen his improvement this year, but obviously the penalties are a problem. Anyway, the point is, Ahkello came in here and he made it known he was going to be the number 1 corner, and he has done that, and he has taken up that role that Jalen had last year. Big shoes to fill, and he's arguably playing better than Jalen was at this point last year, and he's only allowed the fifth fewest yards after the catch allowed with 28. Just think about that. When guys catch the ball, he is tackling them. There's not anything to it. But they're not really catching the ball around him. He's been targeted the same amount of times as as Darian Kendrick, and for the most part, he's done astronomically better. Now, here's the thing, and this is the thing that makes me feel really confident that we're talking about one of the best corners in all of football right now. Not just the stats, and the stats are gaudy and they're great, but you have to keep in mind, at the end of the day, this Rams team is not generating enough pressure. They're just not doing it, okay? You have 20 pressures coming from Byron Young. You have over 20 with Aaron Donald, but after that, a bunch of guys in the regular just single-digit numbers. Here's the thing. When you think about that, that's a lot of time for quarterbacks to throw. We saw Jalen Hurts have all day to throw. And now you think about how long Ahkello has to be defending these type of wide receivers on a weekly basis, whether it's A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, whether it's Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. It has not been easy. So you wait that out and you think about, okay, he's gone up against some really good wide receivers without a pass rush, and look at what he's doing. Just imagine if he was on that Super Bowl team with Von Miller and Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd. Just imagine if that was the corner next to Jalen Ramsey, what this team could have been. He's playing at an elite level. And to basically push down anybody who sort of thinks that, basically paying him right now makes no sense, this is why I would disagree. Because I said it, I've brought it up before, and I'll say it again. Ahkello Witherspoon has done this before. Maybe not on this level, but he has done this before. He did this in Pittsburgh. We talked about it. Okay, he wasn't the same player with the 49ers. I see a bunch of 49er fans underneath every post I make about Ahkello Witherspoon on Twitter saying, where did this come from? He was trash. You have to realize that was a while ago. He played 2 years in Pittsburgh, and those 2 years, actually, he was great. And then this past year, last year, he played the first 4 games. He got burnt to a crisp, and what you found out is that he was dealing with a hamstring injury that absolutely destroyed his season, sidelined him the entire year. He went on long-term IR, and now here he is fully healthy and once again balling out. When you have that elite athleticism combination with your 6'2" frame, sometimes when you actually learn how to play the corner position and you're not just a project and you buy into coaching, this is what happens. And what we're seeing is a guy who's in his prime right now, who's worth every single penny that he's going to get in free agency, and why I believe the Rams need to make a deal right now, get him locked in, locked up, and that way you have your number one corner, sign him to a 4-year deal. You have him until he's 32. Brilliant move by the Rams, I think, but we'll see what happens. Do you guys think Ahkello Witherspoon should be signed long-term? Do you think it should happen now? Do you think they should wait? Let me know what you think, because I think I'm looking at next year, and I'm seeing a lot of cap space, and they don't really have to mess with his deal this year at all. They probably could, but they don't have to. It would be an extension for next year and beyond, and I think that's what they really should be doing. I understand they let Jalen Ramsey go. You're not going to pay him Jalen Ramsey money, but if you could get him at a decent deal right now, maybe $12, $13, $14 million a year over the course of the next 4 years, and you obviously do that however you want, whether you backload it or front load it, whatever you feel is the right way to do it. I would do that. I would 100% lock him in, because we know right now, without a pass rush, he's able to do his thing. But imagine when the pass rush does come. And that could be, now you make this move and maybe it frees up just a little bit of space so you can go out and trade for a pass rusher. But guys, I think it's time. It's going into week 6. This guy has been such a key cog in the defensive side of the ball. And I'm pretty sure, and I am sure, he has every single turnover that the Rams have accumulated on the defensive side. So he's been huge for this team. And sometimes you find, gems just in the rough. People forget about him. This was one of those guys. He got hurt. People forgot about him. The Rams added him, and he's been an absolute steal for the Los Angeles Rams. And he's been a huge weapon on their defensive side. Not just a guy that can shut down guys, but a guy that can take the ball away and give it right back to the offense. So there's my ploy there. There's my play. I'm throwing it out there. Rams, go and sign Ahkello Witherspoon to a contract extension immediately. Get him on a good value deal now. See if this guy isn't, if he hasn't totally hit it to the other level and he's not going to cost $20 million. I would sign him immediately, because the more games he has like this, the more the agent, the more he is going to be able to be like, no, that was yesterday's price. I'm worth this today. That's why I believe that the Rams should have signed guys like Jonathan Franklin Myers earlier. Or not Jonathan Franklin Myers, honestly. The Jets did that, actually, is what I was going to say. The Jets did that, and they got a really good deal on him, but they should have signed guys like Corey Littleton earlier. They should have signed guys like that. Anytime you find a key piece, whether it's UDFA or it's in free agency, I think you really have to strike while the iron's hot. And sometimes these guys might not want the deals, and maybe we never find that out. But I think right now, Ahkello would take a deal knowing that he has a long-term fit here and he gets to play on a defense with Aaron Donald and Ernest Jones and so forth. I think he's going to continue to build around this defense. I think he's going to get better each week. and it's going to be really hard to sign him in the offseason. I still think they should do that as long as it's not Jalen Ramsey money, because that would be pointless after you just traded him. But we'll see. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Personally, I think 44 should be in Horns for the next 4 years and maybe further. But I like that 4-year deal. Let's just say, $14 million a year, and you call it a day. I think it makes a lot of sense. This guy signed for hardly anything in the offseason. He was coming off an injury. Now he gets paid. I don't think he's looking for the highest payday, but I think that would be a good one to just offer him right now, because he is playing at just an elite level, and you can't let that guy walk through the door. But that's me. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. You can follow me on all social at JK Bogan. And I hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, folks.